So it looks like we're live. We're here on JoobyviewTV, rolling 1/3 of the JoobyView crew.
How you doing, everyone? It's Howard Jean Louis, 2/3 of the JoobyView crew right now.
Yeah, Walker is MIA, floating in the wind somewhere. But yeah. So today, what we wanted to talk about was what's going on with all these shootings. Like in the subject, I stated that there's one simple solution to school shootings. But what's going on? Like not just school shootings, but like just as a whole. Like so, they had Michigan State had a shooting there. Chicago's always having some type of shooting, so I'm not surprised about that. But then they got like 5 other states that had like shootings within like 10 days. It's like, yo, these people are trigger happy. I don't know whether it's a COVID thing or I don't know.
Quick question. So I knew about the Michigan State. I was out of the country for maybe like 10 days. Has there been any? I remember right before that, there was a splurge in California, like every other day. There was something going on in California. Were there anything that happened in this 10 days? Any monitoring?
The shootings happened within the 10-day period.
Within the 10-day period. I remember it was a lot even before I left. And you're saying in the last 10 days, there's still been more shootings.
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow. So what gets me with the shootings is I honestly don't understand when it happens in schools. Over the years, there's been additional levels of security that happens that take place. So when someone's able to get into the school, I think the biggest, most imperative thing, and when I say schools, I'm thinking, you have universities, but I was thinking even younger, right? The incident that happened, I cannot remember the state where the officers were just hanging out outside. Scary. That's just scary. What was that?
That was Florida.
That was Florida. And officers.
I was wrong. It says 3 days, 10 mass shootings, more than 50 victims. USC's the worst weekend of 2023. So 9 children were shot in Georgia gas station. 6 people were killed in a Mississippi town. 11 people were shot in Memphis. 5 people were injured near a parade in New Orleans. 6 people were shot in Chicago. Sounds like the Christmas Carol. Oh, man. That's crazy, though. February 17th to February 19th. That's nuts, bro.
That is. And seeing that and you bringing up COVID, I really got scared right after COVID happened because I felt like people had been locked up for so long that they were just going to go crazy and wild. So this is what I was expecting last year or whenever everyone started going outside again.
Yeah, but
it doesn't seem that it's specific towards kids, though, the ones that you brought up.
Yeah, but I don't know that being locked up in the house for a year makes people come out wanting guns blazing. One thing, I think there's one simple solution to stopping mass shootings, and that simple solution is stop publicizing it. Because the way I feel is like the more you publicize school shootings, the more you have copycats who go out there and they try to recreate and imitate what they see. I think the cable news channel, and I think as a whole, the news and the media, I don't know if they do a good job of anything, but they pass out a lot of information. But the theory of it bleeds, it leads, and putting all these shootings out in the forefront, yes, it provides visibility and lets the society or people know what's happening in other regions of the world, other regions of the country. But at the same time, is that me or is that you? Because that echoes terrible. Mute your phone for a second. Let me see if it goes away. Yeah. Yeah, that's you. I don't hear the echo no more. Yeah, so for me, it's like they promote and they show society what's happening in other parts of the world and within the country itself, which is a good thing, right? Because you want to make sure that your electorate and your citizenry understands what's happening in different parts of the world and in different parts of the country. But I think you saw less of mass shootings when the news media was more segmented and there wasn't a whole lot of mass media coverage, for lack of a better term, that showed all of the negativity that happens across the country, because you get a lot of copycats who want to follow suit and do some of the things that they see happening over there in California, in New York, right? You know, you see what's happening in the South, they want to do it up north in Michigan, right? So I think if you want to get a handle or slow down mass shooting, stop publicizing the mass shootings in the degree that that's being done. Because other than that, the only other way you can stop mass shootings is take guns away from everyone, which the NRA would not allow, and Americans as a whole, I think, would have an aneurysm if that were to ever happen. Probably a revolution. So you don't take people's guns away, but stop showing them these different mass shootings across the country, because once they see it happen, they see themselves doing it, and then they go out and doing it, and they go out and do it. And it's sad to say, but the reality is most people are followers. I've always said 10% of people are really good, 10% of people are terrible, 80% of people are indifferent. And the way society goes is based on who has the most influence on those 80%. If the 10% of therapy people have influence over that 80%, you're going to have a very bad time. If the 10% of good people have influence over that 80%, you're going to have a much better time. But there's never going to be 100% peace. That's not a reality of life. I think life was meant to have a yin and a yang, a good and a bad. You can't have dark without light. You can't have light without dark. And so those things are going to happen, but you need to mitigate them to the degree that it doesn't impact the society in a way that makes it go in the wrong direction. That's my thought on it.
Well, you brought up a lot of great points regarding media. I thought that was a very interesting theory regarding the fact that media is putting it out there is one of the things that's pushing it forward regarding copycats. You know, we're always afraid of copycats. I'm thinking just across the board, some of the arguments that people have had over the years, which is music can influence more violence or video games can influence more violence. So to hear that it's just simple exposure, like you said, knowing that a lot of people are followers is very interesting. I think there just may be another layer on top of it as well regarding people's, and I am going to throw COVID in there, inability to manage their stresses or manage their emotions. You know, they're talking about the depression that people have had, or not being around people and the effects that it has had on people. So I'm just simply thinking of the dating game, right? We were in a world where guys, I'm going to say, had to learn how to talk to women, right? And then it turned into like a Netflix and chill type of mentality where it was like, wait, go on dates, court a woman. What's the aspect of that, right? Well, you know, and in that degradation of even the dating world that is morphed into something else. I'm thinking of all the inability of people being able to process everything else, right? If I'm talking about one small box which is dating, and it got ruined. And interacting with others, customer service, I felt went out the window. People having complications already dealing with their own stresses. The aspect that now we're in the violent realm, or people lashing out quicker, or like you said, even in having more of a need to wanting to copycat. Yeah, I think there's been a transformation in the way the world now operates, whether it's for good or for worse. Most likely it's been more worse than anything else. But yeah, I still see your screen. I don't know if you're about to share something else.
Yeah, you shouldn't be seeing my phone. I gotta edit all that out.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
much.
I mean those are my thoughts. I think there's just so many levels and layers as to what's happened. I think people are new people, right? If you look at the butterfly effect and there was no such thing as COVID, I wonder what the world would have been on the other end of that, versus the path that we're on right now.
I think the reality is, as much as people don't like to admit it, music does influence people, just like movies influence people. And I understand, because I've heard Russell say, all rappers are doing is telling you what's happening in the streets, and I believe that. That's very true. But while they're telling you what's happening in the street, go on mute, bro, because we have a bad feedback. Yeah, while it's telling you what's happening in the street, people who are watching that and seeing that happen in real time, they're just mimicking it. They don't know whether it's good or bad. They don't know how to interpret it, or they don't know. I mean, they're just following what they see. Again, it goes back to that 80%, just following what they see. And so you got movies that have negative connotations and songs that lead people in the wrong way.
All right, I'm not sure. It looks like. Are you still in here, Roland? It still says live, so I will, I guess, continue. Yeah. So,
Wait,
Roland.
oh, my bad. Oh, so you couldn't hear me all that time?
No.
Oh man, what's the last thing you heard?
You said movies influence people. People have gotten into the copycat, and music influences people as well.
Yeah, I went on to say about Andrew Tate. Like, he does influence people too, for better or for worse. I think most of the things he say are positive. I think a lot of what he says gets misinterpreted. But at the end of the day, I think we do have I think Walker really needs to learn how to use WhatsApp to join the meeting. Hey, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Yeah, so we were talking about the mass shootings.
What mass shooting?
The 3 that happened in 10 days. I mean, no, the 10 that happened in 3 days.
I don't really watch the news.
Yeah, neither do I. I got this off online. Yeah, so I was thinking, what I was telling Harold is that I think that the media having, you know, publicizing all these mass shootings makes people copycat, because 80% of people are followers anyway, and they just continue down that vein.
I've always felt like that. I mean, you know, it's a double-edged sword, though. It's a catch-22. It's like you want to make people be aware. But
I think he just went out, right?
Yeah, he just dipped out. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is. So what's interesting is in Singapore, when I was in Singapore, all they did was show fluffy stuff, right? They showed, oh, the cat was saved from the tree and stuff like that. And the people behaved, but it was the government that was just showing it one way. And then whenever they wanted bad news, they would war. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I tell you what, man, like, I don't think the news media not showing gun violence is going to stop gun violence completely, right? Because I think people do stupid stuff. That's just, and like I said, yin and yang, there's going to be good, there's going to be bad. But I think the preponderance of this stuff is because people just copy what they see, right? Without any thought, rhyme, reason, right? And that's the majority of people. 80% of people are followers. And so they see these things and they think they can do it themselves, and they go ahead and do it. And that's why I brought up Andrew Tate, and I was like, you know, I think most of the things he say are good, right? It's positive, particularly for men. But the reality is people just do blindly sometimes follow the words, but don't understand the meaning or how to implement it in a way that's positive, because anything could be taken negatively, right? Like water can be bad for you, right? You get in too much water, you drown, right? You don't have enough water, you die, right? So there's extremes to everything. You eat too much, it can kill you, right? So anything that's good can be taken and made bad. So I think that needs to be understood, and people have to make a conscientious effort to kind of navigate that, so that, you know, it mitigates the impact to society as a whole.
just to let you know that I don't know if you eventually figured it out, but that link that you had sent with the Andrew Tate story in regards to escaping prison, that's a fake story.
I know it's fake. That's the whole point.
Oh, okay.
That was the whole point.
I didn't know if you thought it was an actual, you know, thing.
No, that was the whole point. It was like Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, that was a fake story. They were making they were just joking. Yeah.
It's a satire site, so it's that's what they do. Yeah. They do things for comedic reaction.
Yeah. That was the whole point. I thought it was funny. That's why I sent it. But this ain't satire though. Andrew Tate is threatening to sue a woman for $300 million if she does not retract her rape, human trafficking allegations. What say you, Walken?
You said what? What say what?
What say you? What do you think about that?
Are we on?
Yeah, we are. We've been on. You think we waited?
My bad. So, first of all, I highly doubt this chick has $300 million. That's number one. As Andrew Tate would call it, she's probably a brokey. But I listen. If he, you know, like I said, I haven't reviewed all the facts or anything like that. Do I believe any of these allegations? More than likely, you know, I think they'll end up proving to be false. But yeah, I mean, if this is the case, if somebody is attempting to defame you, then I think consequences and repercussions should be, levied. I don't think that you should be in a position where you can just blindly point somebody out and put their career, their livelihood, and their families at risk if there's no merit to it. Now, I've always maintained the stance that I'm not. It's funny that you were mentioning people being followers. I'm not a blind follower. If dude is guilty and he's associated with any of these allegations and they are found to be factual, then by all means he should be punished for it. But in that same breath, if they aren't false advocate, if they are false accusations, then the media has a tendency to just kind of sweep things like that under the rug, and you'll never hear about it. So I would applaud him if he goes ahead and tries to make a big mess out of it, because the same way they tried to defame him, he should have the right to try to earn his credibility back.
What are your thoughts, Harold?
Yeah, I mean, Kenny said everything. Every single aspect of what he said, I agree with completely. We shouldn't go after anyone's livelihood. And if, it's defamation and inaccurate, by all means go after with all the power that you have. And if they are going to pursue and it comes out to be true, I guess, they'll battle that in court as well. So, yeah, I don't think that anything Kenny said, I 100% agree with everything.
The only person that I know that has countersued and won was 50.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Tiara Marie sued him because they had that sex tape of her giving head, and somebody else posted it, and 50 reposted it, and she's like, "Okay, I'm suing 50 for reposting this to his 9 million followers." She sued him. They went to court. She got that lawyer that represents every woman that claims something happened to them. And I don't know whether she thought she was going to win, and then she ends up losing. And then 50 sued her for 350 mil, 1,000, I don't know, 300. I think 350,000, something like that. And she was like, she ain't got it. And but 50 won.
And 50 is known for that. 50 will go after you. Michael Jordan as well, believe it or not. Michael Jordan will go to extreme lengths. There was a story back in the day. Michael Jordan sued this restaurant for using his name with
a burger. That was recently.
Whenever the time frame was, but I just know that the main point of the story is they did some promotion where they used his likeness or his name to promote some sale that some coupon. They took like a full page ad and they were promoting some coupon or whatever. If Michael Jordan did this or did that, I forget what it was, but it was attached to him and his likeness. And so it turns out that the restaurant owner, only like $4 was redeemed. I think like 2 people redeemed the coupon. And then like he ended up losing the lawsuit for like $8 million or something like that because he used Michael Jordan's likeness to promote that particular sale. And Jordan went after him. It was like either a restaurant, it was like a restaurant owner, a small restaurant owner. And listen, man, when you it's funny because we've been working on certain things ourselves with our brand. But when you work hard to build a brand and you work, hard to to build the status of that brand, you know, you have people who are going to try to, you know, snatch crumbs off of your plate and try to kind of piggyback. And so you have to protect yourselves at all costs. So I'm all for it. Listen, go crush those ants, go crush those people who are trying to, like, you know, who are trying to use your name and defame you, or use your name to further their cause. I'm all for it. You know I'm petty. Y'all know I'm petty.
So, you know, my philosophy is this. If he did everything that she said he did, then she shouldn't worry about him suing her, because she should win, right? And I know just because you're in the right doesn't necessarily mean that you always win, right? Because there are plenty of people who are in the wrong that win or whatever, get off, right? But I think that's a fight.
OJ.
I ain't talking about OJ, man. But that's a fight worth having, right? And so if I were her, and I know for sure that Andrew Tate did this, then there shouldn't be no sweat off her back. Like, you know, her lawyer is saying that, you know, Andrew Tate wants her to go in the hole and die. Like, no, Andrew Tate wants her to defend her points. If she says that this happened, okay, prove it, right? And that's what our judicial system, or Western judicial system, is based off of. You know, people have accusations. You prove your accusation, okay, great. But if you can't prove it, you just can't go off willy-nilly, just going doing that and thinking it's okay. And, you know, you can't prove a negative. So Andrew Tate can't prove what he didn't do, right? Like, all you can do is either show that you were doing something else at the time, or you know, and that's the only thing you can do, because you can't prove a negative, right? You can't prove you didn't do something. Once someone accuses you, you cannot prove you didn't do something. You can only prove you were doing something else, right? So for him to say, hey,
that's always the thing that I question, Ro. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah. So for him to say, all right, you want to press me, I'm going to press you back. Prove your point. I think it's fair. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's always a thing that always baffled me when someone comes out, like, you know, like the whole Cosby situation. They come out 20 years, 30 years, 35 years later. And listen, a crime is a crime. And, you know, if somebody committed a crime, they should definitely be prosecuted for it. However, I mean, like, I never understood that, because, you know, a lot of these cases, you know, don't they need some type of DNA evidence, or don't they have to link something to, you know, you being in the same place with the person, or like they, you know, like if the person went to the hospital right then and there, and they were able to show certain, like, you know, physical characteristics of being, you know, abused or whatever. Okay, fine. Then that's something solid to stand on. If there's some type of medical report that, okay, this person claimed back in 1977 that, you know, such and such happened, or this and that and the third happened, and they went to the hospital that same day or the next day or whatever, and they have some type of medical record, or a police report was filed, but let's say they never went through with it because they were, you know, like, emotionally not in a position where they felt, you know, empowered to do that. But yes, there's some type of paper trail. There's some type of, you know, there's some type of evidence that a crime was committed. What the thing that I don't understand is, and maybe this is going more into the legalities of it, is like, how is it that if something happened 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, that someone can just blatantly come out and say, this is what happened. And it's like, it's he said, she said, but it's like people are going to jail behind it, and people are losing their careers. People are like, I'm trying to understand, what are they, if the person admits no guilt, then what do you have to stand on? I don't, that's the part of the judicial system that kind of baffles me. I don't know what these judges and juries are going by. Like, I don't understand it.
So there's something in the legal system that's called preponderance of evidence. And so, or circumstantial evidence. And so you don't need to prove something directly happened, but the sum of everything that has been described is believable enough that it brings you to the point of beyond reasonable doubt. And that's not, I'm not a lawyer. This is not an official legal theory, and I'm just talking on my ass, and I could be completely 100% wrong, but that is my understanding of it. So with someone like Bill Cosby, it wasn't that one person came out and said that he did this to them. It was 70, right? And so people are looking at it and they're like, well, why would 70 different people say the same thing about the same person? The preponderance of the evidence, circumstantial, and they have no proof that it happened, right? But Bill Cosby himself said that he did give women quaaludes, right? Drugs. And the reality is, at that time frame, everybody was taking something, right? Now, they say that they didn't know and he tricked them, and there's no way to prove that. But when you have enough people saying the same thing about the same person, then that is generally enough to convince a jury, because their thing is, why would all these people say the same negative thing about the same person? Right?
That's crazy.
So in Bill Cosby's case, the only way that he could have shown that he didn't do anything wrong is if he recorded every session and say, yep, you see that? This is what happened here. That's the only way that he can prove that he didn't do something wrong, is if he had a video recording of showing exactly what happened where they can see it themselves. Otherwise, the word of all those people are going to outweigh what he says. And
that's crazy.
And to be fair, our judicial system, America's judicial system, was set up to mitigate the abuse of power by the rich, by the powerful, and by the government. Which is why you need a jury, right? Which is why, you need evidence. You need to beyond reasonable doubt. But I think Americans, or America as a whole, takes for granted our liberties and our justice system. And if you look at any society, over time, the rich, the powerful, the government often tries to find ways to take more power away from the people, right? And for better or for worse, when you have a situation where all you need is a crowd of people to say the same thing for someone to be convicted, that's no different than a lynch mob, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's what I mean.
Hold on. Not to say that what these women are saying that happened to them didn't happen to them. I don't know. I wasn't there. And I can't weigh on it one way or the other. However, people should always have to prove their case. I don't believe in believe all anyone. I don't believe in believe all men. I don't believe in believe all women, because I think human beings, by our very nature, we're self-absorbed. We want to protect ourselves. We want to make ourselves look good, and we would lie if necessary. People do. The person that I trust the least is the person that says, I hate liars, or I never lie. Those people I trust the least, because those are the first ones I expect to lie. The person that can say, yeah, I lie, I'll believe that, because we're all fallible. No one's perfect, right? And so And so I think if we continue going down that path, it's going to be a very dangerous society that we live in, because all you got to do is get enough people to say the same thing for someone to get prosecuted, not just in public opinion, but also in the court.
Yeah, and that's a crazy precedence, because it's like, again, like, especially in the times that we live in, I think it's quite easy to corroborate, you know, an accusation and levy it against someone or whatever the case may be, just to create a smear campaign. Like, that's not hard to do. I mean, to if you want to go ahead and attack someone or whatever the case may be, and people are set to financially gain from it, or, you know, they maybe just want to see someone go down, I think it's pretty plausible that eventually someone will try that if it hasn't already been tried. Like, just to build up smear campaign and see someone, and to knock someone off of whatever perceived pedestal that they might have. And I think that it doesn't even have to, it won't be done by, I think we've seen it done. We've seen it done. I mean, when they go ahead and cancel certain people or whatever the case may be, it's like stories just start coming out of the floodgates. And it's like, for example, Dave Chappelle talked about this years ago when he went on that hiatus initially. And he, you know, when he came back from the hiatus after years of, you know, however long he went off, and he eventually came back and started talking about things. You know, he explained his side of the story, but while he was gone and he was quiet and people weren't hearing from him, we were hearing all kinds of stuff about Dave Chappelle. Oh, he was crazy. You know, he went off to rehab and was he was drug induced hiatus that he's on, and he's in rehab. Like, there was all kinds of stories coming out, which eventually, when he did come back from his self-imposed hiatus, he debunked all of those things. But it was crazy to see that once he didn't go along with that particular program, that agenda that was being laid out for him, it was so crazy to see that smear campaign. And I think it's quite easy to do that. Now, this is, you know, that Dave Chappelle thing, that was back in what, 2007, 2008, early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, somewhere around there. So, you know, I think powers that be, especially like in the entertainment industry, or if you're affiliated in the entertainment industry, that's a small circle of the power is concentrated. You know, that's a small circle of people that have all the power. And, you know, if everybody's on board and they want to knock somebody off, I think that's quite easy. I don't think that's hard to do.
What's your thought on it, Harold?
Yeah, I don't think it's even limited to what Kenny was saying. I don't even think it's limited to just entertainment. The government can literally just CIA come up with some fake ass story and put someone in a situation where they have to, you know, go out and do stuff to vilify. I mean, to like prove their innocence or anything, right? So I don't think it's just limited to that. But Kenny definitely brings up great points. Even if you think historically of the nation that we live in, there was a period of slavery, and there was a period of the civil rights movement and all of that stuff. And it was as simple as a person saying, this is what this kid did. You know, we had Emmett Till. We have movies coming out to this day of people who are like, yeah, I lied. You know, you're looking at the, what was that massacre?
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. That
Tulsa,
off of a
Oklahoma.
lie. Off of a lie, and they took over a whole neighborhood, and it was just, yeah, lies and lies and lies, and that's just generations. So we're talking about, people going after people on the top, or not liking someone and just being in a position where they may be believed more than anyone else. This nation is, and other nations have been built off of that, yeah. So definitely agree with you.
That's why I think what Andrew Tate is doing is important in terms of pushing back, to bring some counterbalance, because I think people, by their very nature, would continue to push a button when there's no consequences to push that button. But when they see that there are consequences, then they only push the button when it's absolutely necessary, right? And like Walken said, if it's something that he actually did, let him burn at the stake, right? And let her put everything she needs to put out there, and him suing her shouldn't matter to her, because if she's right, then he's going to lose anyway. But if she is not telling the truth, then there should be some consequences. Because I think up until now, other than 50 Cent, suing Tierra Marie and putting her in that position where she's saying, I ain't got 300,000. Most times when guys like Derrick Rose got accused of attacking someone, right? And he won that case and he left it alone. Like most men, after it's done, they walk away from it and they don't address it. They don't sue nobody. They just walk away, just happy that they didn't get locked up, But I think that sets a bad precedent, because I think the founding fathers had term limits or statute of limitations for certain crimes for a reason, right? I don't think there was ever a statute of limitation on murder, but there used to be a statute of limitations on a lot of crimes, and they removed a lot of statute of limitations, particularly when it comes to sex crimes and women. And if a crime's committed, it definitely should get followed up on. And if the person is found guilty, they should definitely get all the punishment possible. At the same time, though, you can't go around falsely accusing people. You just can't be throwing things out there without any pushback or repercussions. I think everyone should be able to make the accusations when those accusations are true, but everyone does have a right to defend themselves from every accusations. I don't believe all women, but I think every woman that has anything that has ever happened to them, they need to say it. They need to speak out. They need to make sure that their voices are heard. And every time someone speaks out, an investigation is warranted. For everything, an investigation is always warranted. But you can't make someone guilty that's not, just to make a point or just to make people feel comfortable in, putting people on Front Street and trying to ruin their lives.
So with that being said, there's a lot of people in positions of power who do manipulate that, right? So they have the ability and I guess the power behind them to influence this is an accusation. I'm just gonna skew the story or call friends that can make this go away, right? So I think there's also not talking about this specific case. I'm just thinking of the people with power who they could get accused and it just gets brushed under the rug and made going away, So we're just thinking of that aspect of it.
Oh, what you talking about? What about, I think that depends on who you are. Again, I think that what like how I was saying that there's a concentrated group that can actually do that, what you're talking about. And yeah, that does happen. That does go on, whether it be, you see politicians, what's the dude, Cuomo, what's that other dude, Wiener,
but they all got caught up. None of them got away with nothing.
No, but my point is, yeah, it does happen, but even those guys, they must have rubbed people the wrong way, because I mean, if we want to really get, you know, go 100 with it, like, what about all the affiliates and comrades and friends of that visited Epstein Island? And there was supposed to be some sort of list that was supposed to come out outing a lot of these people, but that never came out. That never came to light because there was some very powerful people on those lists. There's been rumors of, you know, like ex-presidents being on Epstein Island and that whole thing. So if you on that type of level, things like that won't come out. There's been, there have been, and I'm not here to accuse anyone. I'm not here to, I don't have any facts or anything like that, but there's definitely been allegedly rumors of very, very powerful people being in or around Epstein Island, or, going back and forth to Epstein Island, especially, with everything that came out about that situation. I think like he got arrested, but there was the woman who was the accused ringleader. Did she ever get arrested?
Yeah.
In that situation?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think she went to trial. Yeah.
Huh?
Or is in the process. Went to trial or is in the process. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they were facilitating these, actions for a lot of powerful people. So none of those people.
Like I know what Epstein did, but what are we saying the people on these lists did?
So, I mean, whether they were participating or knew what was going on and turned a blind eye, either way, like, I mean, just being associated with something like that, I mean, that would be taboo in this day and age, wouldn't it?
So you're saying they're guilty by association, birds of a feather flock together.
I mean, because you can't, obviously no one's going to link them to an act or whatever the case may be. If there's, like I said, former presidents involved and very powerful tech moguls, and like, it's like who's name, like it's a who's of the most powerful people of the past 50 years, and they're reportedly associated with this kind of stuff.
But what I'm saying, what are they associated with Epstein, or are they associated with the activities that Epstein was doing? Because that's a big difference.
That is a big difference, but that island was reportedly that island was reportedly known for what was going on. And hold on.
Let me ask you this first.
Hold on. I'm answering your question.
You haven't heard the question yet. Let me lead you down.
I'm answering the question you previously asked me.
Hold on. Let me lead you down the path. We are all from New York, right? Right? We all know some grimy people in New York that do things that we wouldn't do, but we're still cool with them, maybe because we grew up with them, right? Maybe nothing like this. But do you think that because we know those people, that we should be birds of a feather flock together?
Well, like I was going to say before you cut in to actually interrupt the point that I'm going to answer.
It's giving you more fodder.
But here's the thing. If me as a person, if I'm cool with somebody and I know they got crazy things going on, and all right, perfect example, using your scenario. If I'm friends with somebody and he's known to be a pharmaceutical entrepreneur, let's just say, right?
Doesn't everybody have a dispensary now?
So now, let's say this dude, I see him in the street or whatever the case may be, and I say, what's up to him? That's one thing. Hey, yo, what's up? I might pound him up, maybe give him 2 minutes. Yo, how things going? How you been? I keep it moving. That's different. Now, if he says like, yo, I'm about to take this trip over the weekend, you know, I'm going to Virginia, won't you chill with me? No. Hop in the car with me, I'm about to take this trip. Nah. You know, I know what you're associated with. I know the kind of things that you deal with. I myself, I'm not going to put myself in the position to cross state lines, possibly getting pulled over in the same car with you, knowing what you do.
Right, but what if he says, "Yo, my mom's having a dinner for Christmas"?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
So
and that's my point. It's like,
so you're telling me right now, you don't know anyone that is doing something that you probably wouldn't do, right? Nothing like what Epstein's doing, but anyone that's doing something like you wouldn't do, that you wouldn't like have dinner at their mom's crib.
No, I mean that's just not me.
Okay.
I mean, if once you've, I'll draw, you know, a certain line. Like you will never, you know, you'll never be in this category with me. You'll be someone that I say what's up to, I chill with. Like if I see you around, I'll pound you up. It's all love, but I'm not taking trips with you. I'm not, you know, I'm not getting caught up with you. Like, nah, I'm not going to your mom's. Yo, tell your mom I said what's up. Oh, word, your mom is having a birthday party. Oh man, damn, that's crazy. How old is she turning? Oh, tell her I said happy birthday. Boom, and that's it. That's all you're gonna get out of me at that point. I draw the line. So my whole point is, if these people are in the know, you gotta know what's going on. I mean, these aren't new rumors. These were always rumors that were going around. So you know what dude was about. And so the fact that you're going to the island and chilling for weekends, or, you know, vacationing and doing this and doing that, like, you know, if there's crazy things going on at the time while you're there, even if you're not participating, you've got to be in the know that, like, you know, something crazy could be going on. Why myself as a powerful political figure, why would I put myself in that position if I wasn't either participating or arrogant enough to feel like I'm going to be untouchable, even if I do get caught in this predicament. If I get caught, paparazzi shoots this picture of me, I'm powerful enough that, you know, I can just brush it off. It's in my eyes, is one of the two scenarios have to be playing out here.
Okay. Anything you got to say, Harold? We're about to close this up.
Yeah, if there's a specific island, then you could designate that island. I mean, are happening there, and yeah, it's easy to put a red X on that scarlet letter. No thanks, you know. Hugh Hefner, like, hey, things are happening in that mansion. If you can associate it with.
So you wouldn't have gone to Hugh Hefner's house? That's what you're saying?
Say it again.
You wouldn't have gone to Hugh Hefner's house?
So as I was saying, if things are affiliated with,
I didn't hear no. I didn't hear a no.
Things are associated with an island.
Welcome. Would you go to Hugh Hefner's house?
I think Hugh Hefner is, I mean, from my knowledge of Hugh Hefner, like everything that was going on was, there were willing participants, and there was, like, you know, it was all consensual. I mean, and from what I understand, you know,
that's not what I asked you.
All of those years, nothing crazy was going on besides just, you know, normal human debauchery.
You're okay with debauchery?
I'm okay with debauchery. I'm not okay with, like, you know, alleged pedophilia
and crossing state lines.
With the
cocaine.
With heavy trunks.
and Harold will confirm or deny whether he would go to Hugh Hefner's house or not.
I mean, I was talking to someone actually in the past, and she got invited to a party, and she wanted me to come, and I'm like, "Oh, let's go!" So, so, so I'm like, about time. Took me this long to get invited to a Playboy party. Let's go. It fell through. It didn't happen.
Well, fellas, good conversation. We've been on here for about 55 minutes. We're gonna wrap it up. JoobyView coming along. I feel a lot more comfortable talking about JoobyView now. Can you go on mute, Harold? Because your feedback is so crazy. Because we got the trademark application in, and once you got the trademark application in, that gives you some type of, I guess, some type of
Protection.
status. Yeah, protection. So I'm a little more comfortable. I think JoobyView is going to kick ass. We just got to promote it and make it happen. So JoobyView, everyone. We don't talk about it enough on here, and we're going to start talking about it a lot more. Is if you put Google reviews together, you put Yelp together, and you put Instagram together. If they had a baby, it's JoobyView. And so we are a social value app that lets you know the top 5 venues within a mile radius of where you are within an hour of it being posted. So you never have to try to wonder where to go to party again. You go into a new city and you don't know what to do. Just pull up JoobyView, top 5. What do you want to do? Casinos, bars, clubs, whatever. Gives you the top 5 of whatever venue you want to go to. Click on it. Click on the map. You're out there. So check out our app, JoobyView. Anything else, fellas?
No, man. You know, I was actually explaining. I was heading to a meeting today, and my Uber driver, you know, because I was dressed a certain way, and you know, the conversation just came down to you know, it veered into talking about JoobyView, man, and just to explain it to someone, you know, who never heard of the concept, didn't know about it, and then, you know, 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, you're watching their eyes light up as you're explaining it to them, like, oh wow, yeah, that's a nice reaction to get, you know, to still be getting it after us being, you know, in work mode with JoobyView for this many years, and to come to the point where, like, you know, it's getting closer and closer to becoming like an actual app that we're going to, you know, get out there and make sure that the world knows about, is exciting. It's exciting. It was an exciting conversation to have.
And I just want to point out that I coined the term social value.
I did see you sneaking that word. So everyone, let's also make note that he coined that word. We're gonna give him his credit where credit is due.
Maybe you should trademark that as well.
Trademark that one. So
I'm about to do that. I'm gonna start the application right now. Social value.
I mean, you already have first use from this episode. So there's your initial evidence. I would like to add that I was coming from Trinidad Carnival and was trying to use the app. You know, I use the app, and if we're talking about you know, knowing what's going on in real time, I don't think it should be limited to restrictions, right? It shouldn't be limited to the United States. I was in Trinidad using it, been in UK using it, been in St. Lucia using it. So there's definitely an aspect of, we want to initially be relevant in our immediate home, you know, country, United States. But for us to truly succeed, we want it to be a name brand across the world, right? So yeah, JoobyView is in effect.
Well said. Roland Jean Charles, 1/3 of the JoobyviewTV crew.
King Ken, with you, JoobyView. You're on mute, buddy.
Yeah,
you're on mute.
There's always one.
Man, we had a good thing going, bro.
Can you hear me?
We
Now
had
we
a
can
good
hear
thing
you.
going.
Harold Jean, it was a delay. I pressed it. It said I can talk.
Ruined the moment.
Harold Jean Louis, 3/3 of the Juby View crew. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
It always has to be one person. And